In our documentary, we both conform to and subvert typical documentary conventions. For example, we were inspired by the style of talking heads from It Gets Better, Love Pixar, in which people spoke of their own experiences of coming out. We did this in our film, and we also used stories of people who had been hit hard by homophobic bullying in order to provoke an emotional response from our audience, much like in It Gets Better. However, unlike It Gets Better, we chose not to have our interviewees use an extra diegetic gaze and look into the camera. We felt this caused too much connection to the audience because we were trying to get across that due to homophobic bullying, our subjects all felt slightly disconnected from society in some way. In What About the Families, a documentary which focuses on the effect on the people of the families of people who are sent to jail, you would expect to see from the victims of the crime's point of view. However, you don't. This subverts typical conventions of a documentary because typically documentaries involving this issue usually start with a montage and a voiceover to ease the audience into the subject. However, in The Other Side of the Rainbow, the audience is first introduced to some people with homophobic views to try and enforce the ideas that some have about gay people. There is no easing in. In this instance, we felt it would make a more powerful impact. Furthermore, this shows we have looked at both perspectives objectively before we made our film. This can be backed up by our audience surveys. We felt that an opposing opinion was important because it added depth to our film and perhaps helped people to understand how bad homophobia can be in our schools instead of just hearing about it from bullying victims. We were also inspired by In Bed with the Kills, which showed the audience a comfortable setting in which people were being interviewed. We chose to do something similar in our film by placing one of our interviewees on the sofa with his friend in order to help him feel more comfortable. It also helped the audience to connect with him better because they could perhaps relate to what they were doing, i.e. sitting on the couch and talking about their problems while eating chocolate. After watching Escaping Homophobia, we decided we wanted to go in a different direction with our film. We found that it was too unstructured for our liking. Furthermore, their camera work seemed spontaneous, while we chose our locations and carefully planned our use of camera shots. Also, they went out and chose random people to ask about their topic. We chose our subjects carefully in order to maximize our film's potential due to only having 5 minutes. For example, we specifically selected people who had interesting stories to tell and also 2 officials who could provide insight into what was being done about the current problems and results of previously collected data. For example, the school report by Stonewall. After watching Dear John, a fiction piece which targeted homophobic bullying, we knew how to develop our own piece for a more mature audience. Their short specifically targeted language, while we evolved ours to tackle all aspects of homophobic bullying. This also provided a diversity in the range of interviews because of the varying experiences. This conforms to typical documentaries because we used multiple interviewees with few short takes instead of only a few long takes. Even though long takes are typical of documentaries, we chose to subvert this norm in order to fit more people into our film. Furthermore, in What About the Families, they used text in order to identify each interviewee. After watching other documentary shorts such as I Expect Joan Feels the Same, we realised that this was a typical genre convention, so quickly implemented it in our film. However, unlike in What About the Families, we simply showed each subject's name. We didn't feel comfortable identifying everyone as gay or lesbian because it felt crass. Furthermore, we felt it was self-explanatory in our film